Well, greetings of peace, great people. This is Dr. LaDonna greeting you. I'm in Chicago today, and I'm super excited to begin our Globalcast series for 2024. And our first guest today is Justin Ngoga, coming all the way in from Kigali, Rwanda. Justin, you want to greet the people today?
Thank you so much, Dr. Ladana, to have me here. I'm very, very, very excited, to have this conversation. And hello, everyone. You're welcome to
Yes.
this conversation.
Well, thank you for coming. You are somewhat of an answer to prayer because I'm back in the US after being 1 year in Rwanda and have received so many questions about people who want to come,
Hmm.
how is life there. And listen, Justin Ngoga actually is an author and he is the founder of Impact Route. And can you tell us a little bit about what Impact Route is so that people know about what you do?
Thank you so much, Ladana. So, Impact Route is a company that provides relocation services, cultural orientation, and homestays and cultural immersion programs. And yeah, so we really strive to make life easier for expats here in Rwanda through our relocation buddy service and our cultural orientation, trainings. And we also do intercultural trainings, and so we work with organizations that have multicultural teams to help them understand their cultural differences and how they can leverage their differences. And with our homestays and cultural immersion programs, we work with people who want to immerse in Rwandan culture. So we welcome them in Rwandan homes. They eat Rwandan food. They learn Rwandan culture and language, and they share their cultures with their host, families. And the whole point of this is to really, promote global engagement, both on Rwandan, families and also the people that who are being hosted. Yeah. So in brief, that's what we do. Yeah, and I'm happy to answer all the questions that you have about the services that I've
Yes,
mentioned.
that's excellent. So, promoting global engagement. And one of our assignments here with Africa Excel and Ubuntu Global Village Institute is to build bridges across the waters. And that's why I was so excited to
Amazing.
meet you because that's essentially what
Hmm.
you do. Um,
Hmm.
I have done some research on you because I
Hmm.
know and been able to follow some of your interviews. Can you tell us a little bit about what's special about Rwanda? Because I have to tell you, every person that's been to Rwanda, they have a look of joy on their face when I say I've been to Rwanda.
Hmm.
If someone's thinking about journeying with us to Rwanda or relocating there, what is special about Rwanda?
Good. Thank you so much. That's a great, great question. Of course, number one is people. That's what I love talking about. It's people. Beyond scenery, greenery, beautiful mountains, coleras, we have great, amazing people. Very friendly, hospitable, and forward thinking, yeah. So it's the people. Number two is the leadership. We have got an amazing, leadership that
Yeah,
really, cares about people, and because of this leadership, we've got, very good, security system. So Rwanda is very, very safe, and it
yeah,
ranks, I think, in the top five, uh, safe countries in Africa, maybe on the globe. So very safe.
yeah.
And speaking of the environment, we are very clean,
Hmm, hmm.
country. No littering. So Kigali is a very clean. And of
Yeah.
course, as I said earlier, we have beautiful mountains
Yeah.
and volcanoes and our unique gorillas, and yeah, so a lot of things beautiful in Rwanda, lakes, yeah.
Yes, it's definitely I can attest. I've been posting my times in the mountains, in the
Hmm.
land of a thousand hills, and people, I'm not an outdoor person, but it's such
Hmm.
a beautiful landscape. The guests we had to come, I had my cousin come. She talked about how peaceful she felt, the sense of
Hmm.
peace from the moment she landed, and I had that as well. Yeah. So, so I want
Hmm.
to I know you're doing some amazing great things, but I wanted to if you could tell us a little bit about the books that you've written and the resources that you have because you are
Hmm.
definitely an eminent expert in intercultural engagement. Can you just share with the people a little bit?
Excellent. Yeah. um I have to go back to why I started this, and then I'll talk about my book. I
Thank
was
you.
working with within international organizations. I worked with several international organizations in different capacities. I was the head of training and development department with a big organization here that has 3,000 employees, and they had like more than 100 international staff. So my role also involved onboarding those international staff. I worked with the Peace Corps as a language and cross-cultural facilitator. I worked with the gap year programs, hosted students here. So with all that experience, I realized there was a big need for appropriate cultural orientation for international staff because they didn't have any space to go and get cultural orientation and get cultural support to really deal with culture shock. So to
Yes.
start, I wrote my first book, The Rwanda Cultural Awareness, a guide to understanding
Wow.
Rwandan culture. It's a small,
Excellent.
concise, but very rich book that tells you about, the cultural mannerisms and behaviors here in Rwanda, and gives you some general information about life here in Rwanda, and some phrases in Kenya, Rwanda. So I've sold more than 4,000 copies of this. It's becoming a very popular book. And
Yes.
my other book, you can find it on the website, my website, www.impactrouterwanda.com. Yes.
Yeah.
Under the book, section, it's called Moving to Rwanda Guide, a relocation guide to a smooth transition to life in Rwanda. So it gives you all the day-to-day life information, like for example, recreation facilities and like the banks and how to register a SIM card,
Yes.
internet, like really everything that you need to settle in Rwanda. So those are the two books that I've written. And then I have, of course, programs around those books. Like this, I do a 2 hour, cultural Rwanda cultural awareness and training
Yes.
for the people who have just come to Rwanda, or even people who are thinking, and then we do arrival cultural awareness training so that you come prepared.
Yes.
Mm. And then with the Moving to Rwanda guidebook, I also created the program that I mentioned earlier, which is the relocation buddy service. And the relocation buddy service is a service that actually, you know, um, helps people to have a smooth transition to life in Rwanda. So with
Mm.
that, we do pre-arrival consultation calls.
Mhm.
So like you have an idea like, oh, I want to move to Rwanda. but I don't have enough information about the country, and I want to plan my trip well. So we plan a consultation call, like
Excellent.
1 hour, and then we answer all the questions.
That's excellent.
And we also do pre-relocation visit tour. So
Okay.
you have all the information, but you're not decided. You want to come and then test and see if this is a good fit for you, if
Mm-hmm.
it fits you and your family. And then we organize pre-relocation visit tour, like a week or 2 weeks, depending on your itinerary. And then we help you like get a feel of the country. And then you can decide if you want to make this your home. And then if you decided, then we will work with you. When you come, we'll get you from the airport. We can help arrange, your accommodation, find a house or an apartment for you, help you get furniture, like and local furniture. Because what I've seen expatriates do here, they come and they go to this, imported big, shops, one which are very expensive,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes they don't have strong materials.
Right.
But we through us you can find local made, good quality furniture.
Okay, great.
And yeah, so we are with you all the way, bringing our language and the cultural insight to negotiate good deal for you. And
Yes.
here I have to mention, Ladonna, that most people, when they come, they use brokers. And what they don't understand is that a broker will, will get more money when you pay more. For example, you're looking for a house and you
Mm-hmm.
take a broker to help you find a house, then they will get a percentage of what you pay. So they're
Yeah,
not going to push it for you because they get more when you pay more.
I
So the
see.
good thing of using a relocation buddy is your buddy will be on your side. We'll have a fixed, rate, fixed
Yeah.
price, and then we will negotiate for you, you know, because you understand the language, the culture, and the market.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, that was a long answer to
No,
my
that's
two
great.
goals, but everything's interconnected.
So I really thank you for sharing this. What I want to get across to those who are listening, because every day I meet people who want to come to Africa. That's what we
Mhm.
do is we host Africa Exhale retreats. Um, we could make connections and they want to do it. And for many people, it's like that bucket list. I want
Mhm.
to do it one day. I don't know if it's possible, but then I've had people they've seen me on social media and they're just like, I see it's possible for me to go. And I want to say first, yes, it is. And not only is it possible for you to go, which is amazing, but you can actually live there. And so many
Mhm.
people now work remotely. And so many we work with so many entrepreneurs that have their own business, and as I understand it, many people who live, I mean, you can do your work and live in Rwanda. And so for me, Justin, you were an answer to prayer, because it's kind of like, yeah, I want to relocate here, but I don't know really how to do that. And so it's
Yeah,
like your business is covering all of that, whether you want to visit one time or you want to move to Rwanda.
definitely. And to be honest, I would say the relocation body service is, I think, was created for people who are moving, not with organization, like no, like corporate organization. Because
Okay.
when people are moving with, I mean, corporate organizations, they already have, the organization that is taking care of all the logistics
Right.
and helping them, etc. in Rwanda. But speaking of the African American, I mean, community, which is growing here,
Mm.
and I know people want to, African American people want to relocate to Africa or Rwanda, but
Hmm.
they don't have a friend here, they don't have a family, they know nobody. There's no organization that is bringing them. I know it can be hard. So the
Hmm.
relocation buddy service is for them.
That's
And
good.
this is good because at least you have an organization that you can trust, that's legit. We've worked with other people, we've helped people relocate to Africa. Like if you go to our website, you can see the reviews.
Yeah.
So I think this is really a perfect fit for people who are bringing their families, um, and who are relocating not through their organizations.
Excellent. And you actually have a conference coming up in
Hmm.
March, the Relocation in Africa conference. Can you talk
Hmm.
more about that?
Thank you so much, Donna. Yeah, this came as a result of all the challenges that I kind of come across on, like, during my day-to-day work as a relocation professional, but also from like feedback from expatriates living here. So I was like, yes, we have this program in Africa, in Rwanda, at least, the relocation buddy service, but we haven't yet expanded this program to other countries. And I
Hmm.
know, there are people who, not everyone is coming to Rwanda. Relocation is everywhere in Africa. So I
Right.
was like, we really need to um, come together and talk about relocation issues on the continent and take actionable steps to improving relocation experience on the continent. I
Yeah.
believe it's high time for us African to stop that narrative. When people think of Africa, they think Africa is a dark continent.
Right.
When they think of relocating to Africa, there's a lot of uncertainties
Yes.
because there's no much information on the internet talking about day-to-day life in Africa. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like research shows that, like, when you type, Africa, what comes up, 90% of what comes up is safari.
Yes.
Come on. We
Yes.
Wow, really sad,
It is.
yes, that's beautiful, like the safari, but that's not
That's not
all who we
Africa.
are.
Yeah.
That's not Africa. There's a lot more, a lot more, in Africa. So the conference really is, we have three objectives about for this conference. One is, you know discuss and bring to the surface, relocation issues. We will have experts, in the conference, who have relocation professionals, who have country directors and CEOs of companies, HR directors and utility service executives, to come and bring to the surface and discuss relocation issues, and then take actionable steps to improving those issues.
Yes.
Number two, we want to create and organize relocation resources to make sure that when people come, they have smooth orientation, like what we said. we
Yeah.
have we want to make sure that many books of this, in you know other countries, like books like this, like relocation guide books in at least every African country,
Mm-hmm.
so that we have many resources available and accessible for people to use as they relocate to Africa. And number three is to promote relocation, stakeholders, collaboration between stakeholders. I'm a relocation professional in Rwanda, but might be other relocation professionals in South Africa. So we
Yeah.
want to connect and work together and
Together.
collaborate.
That's excellent.
Yes. So that's what we're doing with this conference.
And so, if people want to get involved, they can go to your website and learn more and register. Is that correct?
Yes, you can go to my website and uh, go to upcoming events, and then you see the Relocation in Africa conference, and then you read the details, and then there's a button you can use to register in the conference.
Excellent. So, I want to ask this term expats. I
Hmm.
want to talk about that. That means people who used to live in another country who now live in
It's
Rwanda.
like the abbreviation of expatriates, which
Right.
is different from expat in a given domain.
The reason I ask is I think our generation, or at least here, we don't really use that term. I don't know what term we use, uh,
Mm.
but I think there's definitely an emerging generation that wants to relocate to Africa, but may not connect to what an expat is. Um,
Mm.
yeah, I think I've been studying that because we have a lot
Mm.
of people in Ghana that have relocated, in South Africa, and so I just wanted to make that clear for people that when he's saying in this conference, there's going to be actual people, and this is what I'm excited about, who have relocated, expats. They're no longer in US or wherever they're from. They are making home. Is that correct? In Rwanda.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so that could be you. And I say that because I meet so many people who are like, I really want to do this. And Justin, you were talking about this before we started, how we were talking about the African American community and people in Rwanda. And you were saying many are retirees. Can you
Mhm.
talk a little bit about kind of the history of African Americans coming to Rwanda or the community that's there?
Sorry, you broke a little bit, but if I understood well, you want me to talk about the expat I mean, the African American community here.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really exciting, to see the African American community growing here. And because like 10 years ago, you know, I don't think I had an African American friend, which is really sad, because there weren't many here.
Yes.
Um, but in the last 3 4 years, five, there've been like a lot of people coming to live, and I've seen people coming and buy land and buy houses and do business, but as I told you, like, at least in my network, the people that I know, most of them retirees, people who've come to retire here. And to me,
Mhm.
it makes a lot of sense because these people have, backup. They have, income that helps them live here.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
uh, for young people, I think, it can be hard if you don't have a backup, to help you live here. Um, I've seen people who've come and then they couldn't find jobs here, or their businesses didn't go well, so they had to go back to the US,
Mhm.
um, which is also kind of a lesson for young people. Before people relocate, they really have to think about um, do like their financial planning well,
Yes.
um, because you won't come and just find job in 3 months.
Right.
So I would say on average here in Rwanda, if you lose a job and to find another job, it might take you 6 months as a local. So you can imagine someone new,
Right.
in the country and culture. So it can even take you more than 6 months. So of course, starting a business is even harder because you have to understand the culture. You have to, do a market research, um, and then invest, and then wait for, your time to be, I mean, for your business to be profitable.
Yeah.
So you people, like, when they think about relocating to Rwanda or to Africa, then first thing to do is plan your financials.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
That's good. That's good. So it's a planning process. It's not
Hmm.
something you just do. I would say though is go and see, have
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
experience, and I think what we're going to see more, Justin, are people who come on holiday.
Yeah,
Um,
I,
yeah,
I I like what you just said. Go and
yeah,
see. So, like, in the planning, you can plan your relocation. Like, you're working now, and then you plan to relocate in 10 years, in 5 years. You just come do pre-relocation, visit tour. The,
exactly.
then come explore, learn the life here, and see what's happening here, see the trend where things are going, and then go back and then plan your relocation.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I see often, I have a dear friend who's a professor, and her family, they go on vacation every year, usually when her kids are on vacation from school, and they go to the Caribbean.
Hmm.
And she loves it, but she really wants to come to Africa. And so
Hmm.
I think there's a way in which people can begin to think about how do they do their vacations, their spring breaks, their retreats. You don't just have to do that in the US or where you are, but come to Rwanda. I mean, for us, and my cousin, she was like, I want to move there. Now, it was just such a great surprise. And I say that, I
Yeah.
don't know why, I didn't really know what to expect, but the people, the level of welcome, um, even to your leadership, your president who said to um, visitors who came from the artistic community and from here, and said to them, "This is your home. You are welcome." And you
Yeah,
feel
definitely.
welcome. Yeah.
And I think, that's no joke. Uh, as I said, earlier, we are very hospitable. I think you might have experienced that.
Yeah.
And so we had a history way back when some part of Rwandans, were not allowed to come back, to Rwanda, because they were thinking, oh, the then, I, regime was like, oh, Rwanda is small. There's no room for you to
Mm,
come back, which
mm.
is sad. And now the
Wow.
new administration is like, we are small in the size, but we have big heart. So
Yes.
we welcome, like, I know about, like, the refugees that we welcome. Uh,
Yes.
we've been welcoming refugees, and so we don't want to see Rwanda, like, as a tiny country, as it appears on the map. So we want to think big. We want to welcome people.
Yeah.
So this can be home to everyone who wants to come.
Yeah.
And LaDonna, we Rwanda is trying to be a service-based economy,
Mm.
and with that, we need talents.
Mhm. Mhm.
We need people with different skill sets. We need people with money to come and do investment.
Yes.
And sometimes when people think of investment, they think of, like, these huge billions of investment. But if you come and spend here, you are investing. So it doesn't have to be like a big investment. So if you
Yeah.
buy tomatoes and um, fruits, and uh, any food from local vendors, then you're investing in those people, and you're using money maybe you like people who are retired here, they get money from the US and then they come consume the money here. So
Yeah.
that's so where that's how I love to see investment. It's not necessarily, big investment, but
Yes.
bringing money to Rwanda. You see, yeah, that's also vital.
And that's true. And I want to say too that many people are investing in real estate,
Hmm.
or my friends in Rwanda. I have a family in Rwanda, and the mom always says, "Where you need to buy your house, you need to, And I want to say, coming from here, and that's what I want to get across to people is the level of welcome. I've traveled the world, but I'm not
Hmm.
always having people say, "Hey, you're welcome, buy a house here." And
Yeah,
so,
sure.
yeah, go ahead.
And speaking of houses, in Rwanda, you can buy a house. Like any foreign person can come and buy a house.
Yeah.
Um, but recently, there have been a law saying you can't buy more than two plots
Okay.
as a personal.
Yes.
I mean, property. So you're allowed to just buy one
Okay.
as your in a residency. Um, but if you want to buy two, then it has to be on investment.
Got it.
And to have that, you need to register a company, and then have an investment certificate, and then you go into real estate investment business.
Yes. Got
Yeah.
it.
Hmm.
So clearly, Justin and Goga, you are the go-to person for an Impact Route. I want to put your website here. We're going to prepare to close. I'm going to give you the last word, but I want to tell people again that they will be having the Relocation in Africa conference March 14th
Hmm.
and 15th. I want to encourage you to check out his website,
Hmm.
also at impactrwanda.com. And I want to also, this month that we're launching, we are announcing our Unveiling the Africa Exhale retreats. And you have opportunity to travel with us. Many people are saying, "Where are you going this year?" Rwanda is the main place we are going. I will also be in South Africa, and we'll be curating a few South Africa personal retreats, but we want you to join us for Africa Exhale Rwanda. We do have some spaces available for our May retreat, and you can also set up some dates after that. Justin, I hope you will join us as we orient
Sure. Yeah,
our
yeah, yeah.
Africa
Hmm.
Exhale folk. And we definitely want to have you back. There's so much we can talk about. I know that you have organized homestays in Rwanda and worked with
Hmm.
um, students who are coming to Rwanda. So I really wanted to highlight your work today. Is there anything before we close that you would like to say to the Globalcast audience, or anything that we may have missed today?
Um, can I quickly talk about the some of the topics that we'll be talking about in this upcoming conference?
Sure.
So quickly, we will do perspectives on relocation and global mobility into and within Africa. So what we'll be talking about here is understand the trends. Like who is relocating to Africa, what's the demography, and what are the drivers of relocation
Hmm.
in Africa, and what are the biggest destinations. So like we talk about trends and some figures and facts
Yes. About trends. Yeah.
like talking about the like it's kind of funny, but I'll tell you, um, Rwandans are building houses. I'm using Rwanda just a case,
Mm-hmm.
and because we have big families, like I have eight siblings, we're nine, big family.
Yes.
So with that cultural, mindset, when people are building houses, they will build um, like houses with many rooms because you have big families, and the house they are building, they're expensive, and the market is for is actually expat, internationals, because they have money, then they can rent the
Mm-hmm.
houses.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a gap, and it's actually a cultural gap. So
Mm.
these people are using their cultural, perspectives and build houses with many rooms. But the trend really of people who are relocating is either retirees, just a
Right.
single person, or maybe two, a couple, husband and wife. They don't
Mm-hmm.
need 5 rooms.
Yes.
And when one is built with 5 rooms, it ends up, you know, taking the space of a kitchen. And the
Mm.
kitchen is tiny because they have more rooms. So when, for example, Americans come, they'll be like, I like the house, but
It's big.
this kitchen, it's big, but the kitchen is small. I'd want to have my kitchen big. So it's actually cultural, gap. So we really
Yeah.
want to make sure that real estate professionals here in Rwanda and developers, they understand the demography for which they're building houses for. You know,
Yes.
so we will also be talking about moving home effects to Africa. So what are people moving? What are people shipping as home effects? Why are they shipping them? And what can you find locally? And then we talk about expert support. The how do we really do expert support, because research shows that up to 50% of expatriates fail, at least in developing countries. So when you have 100 people come, 50% will fail. And one of
Mm.
the reasons is lack of appropriate cultural orientation and cultural support system when
Mm.
they're here to deal with culture shock. So we really want to talk with organizations that are bringing international, people, and talk about how to do effective onboarding for their international staff. Not only workplace onboarding, but more like a comprehensive onboarding, program.
Yes.
And we'll also be talking about how to enter and grow business in Africa. How we also want to have a topic on expat banking. Like in Rwanda now, the trend is, I've seen banks talking about diaspora banking. So like
Mm.
targeting Rwandans in the diaspora to bank in Rwanda. But
Got
actually,
it.
they haven't started thinking about expat banking. How do
No.
you, yeah, how do you do expat banking? How do you do some, do you facilitate expatriates here to bank with you? And with that,
Yes.
we want to talk about transfers. We want to talk about the charges. We want to talk about ATMs, like how to even withdraw money, dollars from ATMs, because now you only withdraw local currency. So we want to talk about all those things. So it's going to be a beautiful conference, and it's just a beginning of a bigger thing, because it is going to come like every year.
Excellent. Well, we are looking forward to joining you. And also, I've
Thank
been
you.
sharing this with some of our friends. I actually had a potential visitor who wants to come. She wants to check out, can her business work in Rwanda, and so I definitely did refer her um, to check out your website, which is Impact Rwanda. ImpactRouteRwanda.com. And listen, you've given us also your direct email. But as I
Sure, yeah.
remember, all of your details are on your website.
Yes, please. Yeah.
That is awesome. Wow. Well, in this show will air during our Black History Month in the US. And it's such an honor to meet with you. I think one of the best ways for people to celebrate Black history is to move outside of the US and
Mm.
explore your relationship with Africa. What an amazing way to connect in, to plan your trip, or at least I noticed, Justin, too, your programs. You have some virtual programs that you offer, but
Hmm.
treat yourself to go beyond the same thing we do every year and find an African country. And for us, it's Rwanda. And of course, we're still very connected in South Africa. But Justin, you were going to say something? Yes. Yes. Well, I want to thank you all. We're going to go back to Justin in a second, but I want to say that this has been brought to us by Africa Exhale Retreats, and we want to invite you to join us for retreat. This year, it's a global journey. It's a refresh experience where you'll be able to explore uh, Rwanda and all of the many the wonderfulness of Rwanda. You'll also be able to rest and refresh. And so I want to invite you to drop me a line at global team at reveladonna.global if you're interested in joining us. You can also type Africa Exhale in the chat, in the comments. And if you have any questions, um, about this or anything else, you can post those in the comments or drop us an email. Well, this is Dr. LaDonna, and I certainly want to thank our guest, Justin Ngoga from Impact Route Rwanda. God bless you. God loves you. And we'll be back again for another edition of the Globalcast. See you again soon, and God bless you so much.